Happy July 4th. I'm here at the Peachtree Road Race, starting my warm-up. It's about 6:30. Start time is 7 o'clock, so we'll do a couple mile warm-up here, and then we shall see what happens on the course today. All right, 15 minutes till start time. Way Bay. See if I can go under 50 minutes. Let you know at the end. Okay, here's the time. 47:57. So I'll check the official time when I get back home and see what the website has. There's the official T-shirt, peach colored. You don't get this until you cross the finish line, and it's not revealed until today. So it's a nice shirt this year, but nice technical fabric. Adidas is a title sponsor of the Atlanta Track Club, so there you go. But yeah, nice shirt. It was worth the effort, I guess. Done 47:57. A little better than I thought. I was hoping to do about 48 minutes, so just barely beat that. I'm assuming the official time is going to be right in that line. I'll have to check the website when I get back. But about 50,000 people here today, so pretty good crowd. A lot of people. Warm and muggy, typical July 4th weather here in Atlanta. So gotta wait. My wife is walking the race today. So I've got to wait about an hour and 15 minutes for her to finish up, and then we'll go over to the Atlanta Track Club after party, I guess, and maybe enjoy a couple rehydration beverages, and then I'll get home and take a look at the watch file and do a quick analysis for you. But yeah, overall pretty happy given the amount of training I had, so good place to build from for next year. All right. Hey everybody, it is now 2 days later. On Thursday, the race was on Tuesday, and as you saw at the beginning of the video, I ended up doing a little better than I had expected. The race started and I felt pretty good, and I said, okay, let's see if I can do a little bit better than 50, and I kind of fixed a number in my mind of 48 minutes, and just barely beat that, as you saw. But before I get into all the geeky details on that, I wanted to show you the shirt here, just give you a little bit better view of the shirt. Nice design. Nice color. I think they wanted it to be peach, but it came out more of, I would say, coral. I guess if you're a colorist, I guess coral is closer. But nice shirt, nice technical fabric. And the nice thing about the Peachtree shirts is you don't get it until you finish the race, and you don't know what it's going to look like until race day. They don't reveal they do a contest and don't reveal the winning design until you pick it up once you go through the finishing chute at the end of the race. So always a nice surprise at the end of the race. But wanted to go into some of the technical details, a little bit of the analysis, as well as show you where I finished, I guess, overall, and what my final chip time was at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and jump into that. And I'm going to start off here with the finishing results. And this is 2 days after, so I'm assuming all the numbers were counted. They got the results in literally within 30 minutes of me finishing. I was able to scan a QR code at the expo at the end of the race and see the results. So here's where we ended up. 2023 road race. Final chip time was 47:56 at 7:43 per mile. Overall, 2004th out of 37,500. I was 50th in my age group, which is 55 to 59, and finished off pretty good there. The splits, as far as what I did, 5K split was 23 minutes, and full course was the 47:56. So there's the official little certificate that you can print out. So pretty happy with that result overall. I ended up running a little faster than I expected. As far as the 5K split and finish time, that makes sense because the first 5K is generally downhill, as you'll see on the Strava profile that we'll look at here in a little bit. And then it's uphill from about basically the 5K point up to about a little over 5 miles. Uphill, big hill, then kind of rolling, and then from 5 to 6, it's down a little bit, and then you got a decent decline going into the finish. So it makes sense that the splits would be a positive split on the race. So let's go ahead and take a look at the race itself in the Stryd Power Center. And I'm going to kind of compare it to the 2021 race to kind of show you what the differences were. So, all right, so here we are. This is the course over here on the map. It starts up in the Buckhead area. For those of you familiar with Atlanta, starts up in the Lenox Square area of Buckhead and then runs down and then finishes in Piedmont Park. So it's a nice course. The street is entirely blocked off. You've got full command of Peachtree Street all the way down, and fantastic support, tons of people out. It's just a great race environment. So, so the way this is laid out, you've got the elevation profile here in gray along the bottom. The moving time at 47:58, distance 6.31. I have to adjust the calibration on the Stryd foot pod, but the times and everything are where they need to be. So if you look here, the average power for the entire race was 270 watts. It says 736, but over the shorter distance it's actually 743. But the power is consistent at 270 watts. Cadence of 169 and average heart rate of 158. So about where I thought. I didn't look at the heart rate at all during the race. I had my Garmin watch just set to just displaying basically pace and power, and then time. That's all I had. I didn't have heart rate because at the end of the day, you can only put down as much power as you can, and heart rate is kind of secondary to that. So I just use power as a good gauge of where I am at. So if we take a look at the course here, the first mile, 7:27, and that's generally going across the top here is a little downhill, a little flat, little uphill. Second and third mile were the fastest miles, 7:11 and 7:12. So basically, from about here on the marker here down to basically right at the bottom of the hill is the second and third mile. And you can see that I was pretty consistent on the power. 278 for the first mile, 272 for the second, 266 for the third, and then we hit the hill. Basically, the 5K point is roughly where the hill starts, and so mile 4 is almost all uphill with a little bit of flat. And I did 8:05 for that mile. Mile 5 is generally uphill. Again, not real steep, but it is trending uphill pretty much the entire way. And that was 8:02. So pretty good there. That's about what I figured. I figured that the first 3 miles would be a little faster because it's generally flat to downhill. And then mile 4 and 5 would be the slowest miles, which they were, and then mile 6 should be somewhere in the middle there because it's kind of rolling and then it's a downhill finish. So about what I thought. Mile 6 was 7:48, and that's level, and then downhill the last 2/10 of a mile. Basically, the last quarter mile, you turn a corner and go down to the finish. So pretty consistent. I was getting a little tired here these last couple miles. My average watts were 264 and 266. My peak watts for the race were right at the top of what they call Cardiac Hill, that long hill that goes up from mile 3 to about mile 3.5. And I peaked out at, I don't know, 298, 299 watts right at the top of the hill. But pretty consistent. Like I said, focusing on power helps me really gauge what amount of effort I can really do. And I thought I was fit enough to maintain about 270, and that's almost exactly what I did. So the end result was that 47:56, which was better than I thought, not quite as good as what I did in 2021. So I'm going to show you the file from that, and there's some pretty significant differences. So in 2021, the distance all essentially the same. But look at my time here, moving time, 44:40. So basically 3 minutes and 15 seconds faster. So what, 35 seconds a mile or so. The average mile per pace was 7:06. Official mile pace was about 7:11 over the 6.22 miles. So 7:11 versus 7:47. So what's that? 36 seconds, and that equates to about 17 watts of average power. So average power in 2021 was 287. Cage was a little higher then, but my heart rate is almost exactly the same. Average heart rate 157. And the days were pretty similar weather-wise. So what that tells me is 2 years ago, when I was more fit because I'd been doing a lot more running the previous 6 months, I was able to maintain a higher power, 287 versus 270, and my heart rate was essentially the same, actually a smidge lower. So that tells me that all things being equal, I was just in much better shape in 2021. But you take a look at that, and you look at the mile paces. On those 2 miles that were the slowest, mile 4 and mile 5, just like this year, those were the slowest, but they were 30, 50. I was a minute faster over those 2 miles just in those 2 miles 2 years ago. And then these every other mile was considerably faster, but average watts were a little higher. So that's the difference, that being able to run consistently. At that point, I'd been running consistently for about a year, doing 3 to 4 runs a week for an entire year, and I had done a half marathon and a couple of virtual races all through that initial year of the pandemic and into 2021. So I was in much better shape. So what does that mean? Basically, if I keep doing what I'm doing, which is doing a workout, 2 good workouts every week, so either a long run and a tempo, or a tempo and a little bit more of an interval, but 2 to 3 good workouts each week with another easy run, and then maybe 1 or 2 other zone 2 indoor cycling, that type of thing. And if I'm able to maintain that over the next few months, I should be in a much better overall physical shape, aerobic conditioning. And if I'm able to maintain that through next year, I'm hoping that I can do about what I did 2 years ago in 2024, which would be, I would be 59 at that point. So overall, very, very happy with it. The result was a little bit better than I thought, and it shows me that the training is definitely working. That's about it. Did you guys do any races over the summer, over this last week or so? What kind of races have you done, and what kind of results did you get? Go ahead and leave it in the comments below. If any of you have started using Stryd FootPod or training with power, I'd be interested to hear that as well. And if you like what you're seeing here and you want to share it with others, that gigantic thumbs up is a great way to do it, get the word out there, and have more people come in and become part of the little community that we're building here. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. And hope you enjoyed it. Peachtree is a great race. If you ever get the opportunity to run it, highly recommend it. It's a great environment, fun race. A little warm and humid, but yeah, it's Atlanta in the summer. So that's it for now. Hope everybody's doing well, and until the next one, be well.